Okay, welcome everybody. ProSpartanGamer here with a very special guest tonight, and we're going to do a sort of a podcasty Skype call with professional footballer Adam LeFONDRE. Hello mate, how you doing?
I'm good mate, how are you pal?
Yeah, not too bad. So, a little bit about yourself and how it's going at the moment. You obviously had a loan spell at Bolton, which you enjoyed playing with some really top quality players like Johnson and Heskey. How was that for you?
Yeah, it was brilliant. It was just nice to get back scoring goals, which I didn't do enough last season. It's a great feeling to play with some quality players as well, because they've had two tremendous careers, and for the ability to go in there, to watch them train and learn off it was something I probably not get at most clubs.
No, and looking through, obviously done a little bit of research before speaking to you, and a bit of homework, went back to school. Some of the goals you actually scored for Bolton, I was looking at, scored a lot goals against nearly every side that is coming up to the Premier League as well. I think you scored against Watford, against Norwich, so you were scoring goals for Bolton against the cream of the Championship, really. So that must be quite pleasing.
Yeah, of course, scoring goals against anyone's good. Anyone who knows me knows I just love scoring goals, and that was the main reason for me going to Bolton, was I was going to play up front, chances were going to get created, and it was down to me to put them away, and I did that. I thoroughly enjoyed my time there because I scored so many goals there.
Yeah, I mean, career stats at the moment for you, something like over 400 games and over 170 goals. That's pretty decent, isn't it, really? You've got to be happy with that return anyway.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll be a lot happier when I get over 200 goals, and we'll go from there. I'd like to think I'm going to get around probably 250, 260 goals by the time I retire, hopefully.
Well, that'd be a hell of an achievement, wouldn't you? And to be honest, you scored goals quite regularly in the Premier League as well, didn't you, when you were at Reading? So, I mean, you've proved it.
Yeah, I did reasonably well in the Premiership when we were there with Reading, obviously. We got relegated, which was obviously the sour part, but individually I did reasonably well and won a couple of accolades on the way as well.
Yeah, obviously I wasn't happy when you bagged that brace against my side, against Everton, but fair play to you. I always actually thought you're a very clever striker who, made real intelligent runs, and someone who was always very dangerous and had a good eye for a goal, really, which I think is where you've carried on, and hopefully good luck in the future. Anyway, we're not here to talk about your professional career, as I'm sure it's very, very interesting, but what is amazing, really, and it never ceases to amaze me, is how a video game draws people from all areas together. And there's no doubt about it that PES, or Pro Evolution Soccer, however you want to call it, certainly does. The community for PES and Pro E is a fantastic community, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Like I say, I speak to Glenn. He's helped me with option files before, and is it Damos?
Yeah, DJ Damos on the Xbox side of things.
He's helped with an option file as well. I think last year or the year before on the Xbox, and it's such a good community for helping and making the game a better game. With also the finishing touches they add to it.
Yeah. Obviously, this will be up on PES World as well, because I'm part of PES World. But I think it's great to hear that so many people appreciate the work that those guys do, because I mean it can be arduous to go through this, the amount of teams that are now featuring on PES and putting kits, and it's not just first kits, it's first, second and third kits, and a goalie kit on a lot of them as well, and the quality they produce is fantastic, I think, and like you say, it really does make the game, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course. I think it helps give the finishing touches. Obviously there's a lot of license problems which comes with Pro Evo, and obviously them sort of people have found a way around that to make the game obviously a better game aesthetically as well. Yeah,
and we'll go on and talk about PES 16 in a minute. The first thing I wanted to do, because this interests me, is I've got you up on screen on PlayStation 4. Obviously it's while you were on loan at Bolton. I know you're at Cardiff, sort of contracted to Cardiff, but obviously the update was done and you're at Bolton, so they've got you centre forward, 78 overall rated, Fox in the box, 177 height, Is that right?
I think about that. Yeah. I think it's 175.
Right-footed. What do you always like when you get the game? Do you look to see if you're on it and?
Yeah, I always check. Yeah, no matter what game I'm on.
Do you ever sort of have like an exhibition match and think I'm going to make sure I pass the ball to me to see how good I am and or not?
Well, not really, not particularly, no. But I always check what sort of rating I am and stuff like that. Though, yeah, definitely.
Do you ever go through like the individual stats and sort of think, oh come on, I'm better at that surely, or?
Yeah, sometimes depending like if I'm going to bring myself in, then yeah, I will obviously look a little bit more into it and see what they've put me down as.
Yeah. I mean, on here, on the combined ability, we've got scoring instinct and header at 80. So that's pretty decent.
Yeah.
Ball retention, I'd have thought maybe a little bit low. I think you're better, 71. I think you're probably a bit better at keeping hold of the ball than that. It's a bit unfair, I think, that one, maybe.
Well, you can't have everything, but I'll take the finishing, obviously. That's the main thing.
Yeah. Dribble speed, 76. Penetration 76, physical strength 76, speed 76, speed and ability, that is strength and air 78. The others are sort of high 60s to 70, and then on the penalties, now come on, 67. You were a penalty taker, weren't you?
Yeah, I am a penalty taker.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Surprised at that one.
That's not very good. I mean, I've seen you banging plenty of penalties, so I'm surprised.
Yeah, I think that's relatively low for me. I think
yeah. So we're going to have to find out who ever done this and shoot them. That's no good at all. Finishing's 80. So really speaking, I mean, if I was looking for a striker, I wouldn't be adverse to signing that with a finishing of 80. That's decent, isn't it?
Yeah, I think anything above 75 on PES is really good, depending on what team you are and what sort of players you're bringing in.
To be honest, you got attacking prowess 79 as well, and swerve and header 80. So some decent stats there, really. So you can't be too disappointed with it. Form of 8 as well. So can't get any better than that. Every week you go and produce.
Anything over 75 is acceptable, I guess.
Yeah. Surprised you haven't got any player skills. Might have given you I think fox in the box is what they've called you, but goal poacher or something like that you could have had, couldn't you? Just to have.
Yeah, I thought they would have put something like that.
Well, hopefully the powers that be will watch this and.
I'll have to have words with Adam.
Have words with Adam Beatty and say, now come on, got to be worth a couple cards on 2016, surely.
I'll just have to rate my own player. He might be about 97 though.
Yeah. So that was that little bit of fun over. Let's start way back when you was a wee lad then, I suppose. When did you first get into PES or Pro E?
One of the first games it was, to be fair. I can't probably when it was ISS.
Yeah, on sort of PlayStation 1.
Yeah. It's just grown from there. I think the first probably 4 or 5 of them games, me and my brother used to just do a Master League each, and we'd always have like certain players we'd always Bagsy players you couldn't have each, so we'd never play against the same players.
No, that's a good idea. Yeah.
And then we'd always have like a series and stuff like that. Yeah, it was incredible. It was where I first sort of fell in love with Buffon as well.
Yeah. Did you ever play co-op Master League or just
no, just single player? No.
Yeah. So Buffon you mentioned. Is there any other sort of players that you remember from PES's past that like really done it for you?
Obviously Adriano.
Oh yeah, on PES 6.
Yeah, there was a certain time where he was a god.
He was, yeah. In Inter Milan side was the one to be in, wasn't it?
Yeah, him and Zlatan up front.
Yeah.
And then with one of the times it was Cannavaro.
Yeah.
And Shevchenko, they were always in my teams.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the Inter Milan side was always the one you wanted to be on around PES 5 and 6, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's the one with Terry on the front, isn't it?
Yeah, really, really good. So, So that was really the teams that you how do you tackle PES when you? I'm interested to know when PES comes through your letterbox or you go out and buy it or however you end up getting it. What do you do? What's the sort of first thing you do when you get hold of the game? Obviously, you pop it in your console.
Pop it in, look at me, then just probably go straight to game on Superstar and see how like the changes are and that.
Yeah, so play a few expedition matches.
Yeah, but like, or just go into a Champions League and then and then do that and then go straight to a Master League.
Do you like? You touched earlier that you're a big United fan, big red. Do you like playing as United in like Champions League, or would you not?
Yeah, that's what I normally start as, probably. Then I'll go as Barca or something like that.
Yeah.
And just like use obviously the skilled players.
Yeah.
Just doing that way.
And you said you touched earlier about PES World and the option files. Do you wait to start a Master League, or do you before you've got like it as you would like, or do you go cracking straight on, or?
Yeah, straight on. I go straight on, and I just change like the team names and stuff like that.
Yeah, you have a bit of an editing session of.
Yeah. I'll do like an hour of me just changing a few bits and bobs to it, and then
changing sort of Merseyside red and Merseyside blue, and
of course,
and all of that, and North London. Yeah. And what do you start with? Do you run lots of Master Leagues? Do you start with a default? Do you start with match mode? What do you?
A change really. Like, there's probably the first couple I'll do club team, and then after I got used to it, I'll create my own team and obviously go with the default.
Yeah, because I think that's the ultimate for me. I don't, I don't mind doing it. I have done ones with the match mode, like you say, but I think Master League, the ultimate challenge is starting with the dross, isn't it? And
of course.
Making your own club really, and sort of the names of those past, like the Stromers and the Raganottis and the Castolos and all them.
Castolos and stuff like that. I remember on one of the first ones, there was always a centre half bald head called Gabato.
Yeah.
Who was legendary for me, and Valerie.
Yeah, Valerie. He was a tank, wasn't he, back there?
Yeah, before he changed to Valerie.
Yeah, he was an absolute tank. I remember him because I remember winning a game 3-2. It was a big Master League game, and the left back was Raganotti, and he scored a 30-yard raker to win it like 3-2 and win. I think it was European Cup or whatever it was at the time, and that is one moment I'll never forget. And that's going back from like probably I don't know. Might have been like Pro Evolution 1 or something, years ago. Probably one of the first games on PlayStation 2.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But it's such great memories with a game, and so you've always for what you touched earlier when we spoke before we started recording that you don't you're not averse to playing a little bit of FIFA as well, and I've got as people will know from my Twitter and from obviously my channel, I've had career modes on my channel as Everton over the last two FIFAs, and obviously when PES had its bad year in 2014, I did play an awful lot of FIFA.
I've played FIFA as well. They're both really good games, but obviously they both have different draws as well.
Yeah. What would you say? Is it just the pure gameplay? Because for me, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. Obviously, you tell it as it is for you. But I just feel, especially this year, 2015, there's so much more variety in PES and the way you score goals up against FIFA. That's one of the main things. If you play a lot or watch a lot of FIFA, the goals seem to repeat quite often. You don't seem to score different.
Yeah, you score quite a lot of the same goals, don't you?
Yeah. Whereas PES, I'm still probably scoring goals that I haven't done. Yeah. And God knows how many hours I've played on it,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know what you mean. Exactly. Yeah, it can come a bit predictable, can't it?
Yeah. Do you do career modes on FIFA? Is that what you?
Yeah. I'm on one of them. I'm about 4 or 5 seasons in.
Yeah.
But I've come off that and stopped playing it because, like you say, it gets a little bit boring after a while.
Yeah, I'm really hoping both of them sort of focus on team ID and making teams very different to play against. I think that would be a real because in career mode they can get sort of it can get a bit tedious if you want to go on years into it, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. And like you say, it can become boring if you play the same way all the time after time after time. And like you say, if you do that, that's when you just put the pad down and you want to try something different.
So we've spoke on Twitter, and if anybody's followed your tweets or my tweets, you've recently had an AC Milan, a crack at trying to, I think you called it rebirth AC Milan, bring them back from the rags to the riches again and make them a superpower in Italian football.
Yeah, it didn't work though.
It didn't work. You brought in some good players though, to be fair, didn't you? But you obviously stripped the cupboard bare to bring in Neymar and Muller and...
Yeah, well, I spent 72 mil on Neymar, which I probably shouldn't have done. I could have got Neymar for I could have got Aguero for 50 and got another world class player with it, but I just wanted Neymar. And to be fair, it justified his money, but it was the other players that let him down.
Yeah, and you've recently just gone to Malaga. You said you've taken the job.
Yeah, I thought in real life. Obviously, Inzaghi's just gone for finishing 12th, I think, in Serie A, so I don't think it was sensible for me to stay there anymore. So Malaga offered me the opportunity to play in Europa League again, which I wanted to take.
What other Master Leagues have you played so far before that?
I've got another one with my team, with like Alfie FC.
Yeah.
That's I think that's 2 seasons in, we're in the Premiership. Like I said, I've got Danny Ings and Gabriel Barbosa up front. Barbosa's literally about an 80 now.
Yeah.
After the second season, he scored about 15 and about 6 as well. He's got a hammer of a left foot. Yeah,
so you're hoping for a bit of a dynasty with them, or you take
yeah, well, I'd like to think so, yeah. But I'm going to just try and build with Malaga for now. And see if I can try and break the stranglehold on Spanish football.
Yeah, I mean, I've got mine in the Liga. That it's tough. Barca and Real Madrid are really tough to beat. I must admit,
Yeah, I thought La Liga would be a little bit. I thought Serie A would be a little bit easier than what it was.
Yeah.
I struggled against Lupitoni for one. I think he's at Chievo, he's at Hellas Verona. Yeah, I think he won Golden Boot again, like he did in real life, and he's ridiculous on it. And he was literally owning my defence.
Yeah.
Some of the lesser teams were too much for me.
Yeah, it can be that. It's not always... I must admit, from my experience of playing this year, it's not the sides that you would necessarily expect to be the harder game that you struggle against. It is a lot of the lesser teams. I've come up against sort of Sunderland, who have been like second from bottom, probably won 2 games out of, 18, 19. And you look at it before the game, you think, oh, hopefully this might be, a chance to rest 1 or 2 or get back to scoring goals, and then you just can't do nothing against them, and they nick a scabby goal or something, and
you push for it,
and then they usually get another one with 5 minutes to go or something, and this.
Yeah, exactly. It's out of reach, and that was pretty much the story of my season. Pushing for first half. I've probably 6 or 7 shots, and then after that, I'd probably concede a penalty or something of that sort, and shoot myself in the foot.
So when you're signing people on PES and you're searching the transfer market and all that, do you sort of relate to people and players that you know in real life, being a professional footballer? Do you sort of look at them and think, oh, he's a really good player, I played against him last week, I'll see what he's like on PES? Or
sometimes, but obviously with my teams that I normally manage, obviously I'm just trying to bring in the players that would sort of fit the way I want to play on it. And like I've just brought Lamella into Malaga. He obviously has got his actual face on it as well. Yeah. So he looks really good, and he's got a nice left foot, and he's like a really good dribbler. Because on mine, I'd like to get the players in the hole and like dribble at the defence more than any other thing when I play.
Yeah, you've got a set way of playing, and that's your manager belief. So I think that's cool. I think that's the way to tackle it. I mean, I know when I always try and tackle it, I always try and get players that are going to fit in my team. I don't just like sort of. I do always end up being striker top heavy. I do tend to always sign perhaps one or two forwards more than I should do, but
yeah.
But yeah,
you don't have enough goals though.
Yeah, I think that's and trouble is on PES, probably for every 4 or 5 signings you make, there's usually 1 or 2 that just don't work for you, isn't there?
Yeah,
which is good. I like that. I mean, I'm not not knocking that, because I think that's good. You don't want every signing to be spot on, because that wouldn't be realistic, would it? Really?
No, of course, yeah.
So,
Nice.
Go on. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying, like you say, something like the real life, innit? Obviously, where things don't work out as planned, and
yeah,
and it just goes like that, doesn't it? It happens in the real world, so it obviously should happen on the computer game, which is trying to imitate that.
What are your obviously E3's on as we speak, and we've just had the PES 2016 trailer with Neymar the cover star and big plans all over the trailer, hopefully for Master League. Lots of like in-game stats from what I saw of it, a bit like Opta Index with the passing in certain places and all that. That bodes well if it actually means something in-game and isn't a gimmick, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, of course. I think all these little things. I think with Master League, it's been left behind for numerous years. I think it either goes either way, where it goes old school, where it is literally old school, and forget about trying to put all prices in, or they bring it totally up to date, which I think they've done now, and bring it into like the new era of how everything goes now. Obviously, if you look at FIFA, for example, their career mode, manager mode, and you look at all the details that come in with that, with transfer systems, with scouting, and etc. etc. And it's bordering on real life, and
yeah.
Even so, Football Manager, I think there's a lot to be learned from Football Manager in the dealings of obviously manager's life and stuff like that. The way that's emulated, like football realism, is unbelievable, really. Miles has done a brilliant job with that game.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I want there to be improvements, but I don't know. I don't know whether I'm in the minority here. I might be, but I would still like to be able to sign. If you've actually earned the money and you've earned the right, by being successful, I still think you've got to be able to buy the best players on the game at some point. Do you know what I mean? Even though probably Barcelona may never sell Messi, I think you've got to have realism to a point, but at the end of the day, you've also got to have the fact that it is a video game, and obviously all the users want Messi at their side, whether it be the SP Spartans or whether it be your, Elfie, your sort of default team that you make up. So I think it's very difficult. I mean, this year's obviously it's a bit tongue in cheek, really. The transfer with the smiley face, isn't it? It's a bit. Yeah. I think the only thing I would say that every player obviously has a value, whether you can afford to buy them or not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which, from one respect, isn't a bad thing.
Yeah.
I just think there needs to be elongated a little bit. I think there needs to be an inquiry button to begin with, and then perhaps you have some.
A bit cuter, don't it?
Yeah, you have some interaction with the other club first of all. And you can't always sign them. They might say, well, no, he's just not for sale at any price at the moment, or he is for sale, but you're going to have to pay a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah. Like you say, with regards to what you're saying about like Messi, for example, if you were to sign him for your team, I think obviously if your team's winning leagues and that, their prestige goes up.
Yeah.
And it gives you the ability to speak to them sort of players. And
yeah, but you shouldn't be able to sign them if you're like,
Yeah, they say you're in the championship on the game and you've come sixth.
I think there's too many. I think there's too many free agents on this year's game, which I don't know.
Yeah, it makes it a little bit easier, I think, after the first season to strengthen your team.
Because I did actually sign a couple regens and then I regretted it and I got rid of them straight away because I sort of thought I don't mind regens, but I think I'm going to set myself a little bit of of a rule that I can only sign them after being in the Master League for so long, I think, or something.
Yeah, I don't particularly like to like. I'm not going to bring in any free agents or any rejects.
No.
I think if a bit like FIFA, where if the player retires, they have to bring in a player who's totally made up or whatever. I think that should be the way forward, really.
Yeah,
players should really resurface.
Yeah, I don't think it's too bad if they resurface and they're crap at the beginning. But last year they were ridiculous because they were the same rating when they retired. This year they seem to have a poor overall rating, but their stats actually seem to be quite good when you go and look at their stats.
Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah.
Which I'm not quite sure how that's happened, but
I think as well with that though, if say Messi retires, and he comes back, I don't think he should come back and go to be like whatever 99, 100 or whatever it goes to. He should come back and be like just a 70 player, and then you'd have say, I don't know, say John O'Shea retires and he comes back and he turns into 100 and the best defender in the world. Do you know what I mean? I think something like that should happen so that you play with different players.
Yeah, well, I think us, the manager or the user, ought to be the ones who dictate how good a player gets.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's what needs to happen in the game, I think, because you're exactly what you're just saying there. Is the trouble is, we all speak on Twitter and you ask about players you're signing on the Master League, and even though there's tens of thousands of players on the game, the same names do reoccur.
Yeah, of course.
It's the same with FIFA. You sort of talk about people, and there's probably a pool of about 100 players that everybody has.
Yeah, exactly.
And everybody's players the same, and they shouldn't be. If say for example, like you said, you want to buy Lamella, who sits in the hole and dribbles at the defence. Well, if his stats aren't quite what you want him to be, then you should have the choice of perhaps spending some of your budget on making him better at doing those things in your team.
Yeah, exactly. I think you should be able to buy training facilities and improve it from there. Like you get like a 500 grand training facility that improves, say, a little bit or maintains the players, then you have to spend 5 mil, like get some up 1 rating or whatever. You can work from there really.
And then you'd have a choice: do I invest in this player or do I just go and buy the finished article somewhere else?
Exactly,
which is the sort of decisions that real managers are making in real life, I guess, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, of course. I think a lot of it depends on form as well. If a player's scoring 3 a game, I don't think you can afford to keep him at 78 because obviously he's not playing as a 78 or whatever level he's playing at. He's obviously improved beyond that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the form. I've never really understood the form arrows on PES. Someone needs to explain to me, because obviously you get a form rating, which yours is 8, which means every game you should be in form because that's the highest it goes to. But you could bang in a hat trick, and the next game you could be on a blue or a purple.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Which I've never understood it. It seems totally random to me. It really does. One thing for sure is that ought to improve as a player gets older.
Yeah,
the form, as someone becomes more consistent. Yeah. But it ought to be related to probably what their actual rating is. Because the ratings don't mean nothing either, do they? Really, they're crazy. Some of the ratings they come up with at the end of the game, aren't they?
Yeah, it's daft, isn't it?
Yeah. So hopefully they've looked at things like that. And I mean, to me, the gameplay doesn't need a lot done to it. It's just a few little tweaks. PES 15 was really good.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's a really good platform to build on.
Yeah, I just think the other thing I'd like to see improved is the goalkeeping.
Yeah, definitely.
Just obviously more animations and a little bit more individuality as well between them all.
I will say on the goalkeeping, I think this is the one year that I've noticed that you can't get away with like a 72 goalie.
You can't get away?
No, you can't get away with one. If you like go out and sign a goalie that's about an 80, he will save so many more than a 72 goalie.
Yeah, well, that's going to bode well. I've just signed a 74.
Yeah, but he might come good. But I've noticed that the lower ranked goalies, they just fall over like a tree.
Yeah.
They don't actually spring to save the ball. But when you get a higher rated goalie, you'll notice that they're catching so many more.
Yeah.
Like the shots that are going in the bottom corners, they actually do sort of dive over and catch them.
Yeah.
But apparently goalies have been improved quite a lot according to the feedback, and there's an awful lot more animations on the goalie. So hopefully that will be, because the goalies on both games, well, on FIFA they were terrible last year, weren't they, the goalies?
Yeah. To be fair, on both games they need improving.
Yeah.
I think as well with that, I've never seen, when you score goals or score ones from the outside of the box,
Yeah.
you never really get a touch on them and it goes in, or like when you shoot palm it goes in, like you see it on PES now and again. But if you watch football, a lot of the time the keeper gets an hand to it, gets a foot to it, and it still goes in.
Yeah.
You never really have them goals on these games. It's always either straight in or...
No, that's a good point actually. Yeah.
Whereas in a real life game, the keepers always get a hand to them, tip it onto the post and it goes in, goes like through the body and stuff like that. I don't think they have enough of that.
I wonder why they don't, because I've noticed on PES this year a lot more deflected goals off defenders. So
yeah, I think that's better as well. FIFA have improved that as well.
Yeah, so there must be capabilities of doing the deflection off a goalie, but that is a good point actually, isn't it?
Yeah, I've with things like that, I think that it's been like that for a couple of years where you hit a good shot and in real life, or it's either going top bin on PES, or the keeper's making a great save. It's not going like he's tipped it onto the bar and it's gone over, or he's tipped it onto the bar and it's gone barring in. You know what I mean? Like you never see them goals on either game.
No.
So I think that's where something needs to be done as well, because in obviously real life you see a lot of goals like that where
you do, yeah. To be fair,
Rooney hits one, tips it onto the bar, goes in. Skulls or what, like back in the day when he did it and stuff. There's loads of instances where that's happened, where
and also like attackers like yourself, when the goalie comes out, it's quite a lot of times when you just toe end it through the goalie's legs, and it, like you say, it sort of gets a brush off their shorts, or if they're in a fight, but it still goes in, isn't there? Things like
exactly.
That.
Yeah, like you say.
You don't see many goals like that, do you?
No, you don't. Where you just say toe bug at him, or even on a one-on-one, and you say you were trying to whip it across him, and it hits his body and goes in, stuff like that. Obviously, I know it must be hard to do to incorporate in a game.
Yeah, because
looking for ultimate realism, then I think it needs to be obviously incorporated a little bit more.
But obviously, we are moving towards that with. What is capable on this generation of console. I mean, some of the games that they've been announcing at E3 this week, sort of do blow your mind what they're capable of. So there's no reason why we shouldn't expect better from our football games, is there really? I mean,
yeah, definitely. You look at all the other games, how they've moved on, and I think it's only right that both computer games move on in the same fashion.
So PES is coming out in September. Do you get a lot of chance to play it once the season starts, or?
Yeah, normally when I'm away, playing away games or whatever, I'll take my computer with me and try and have a bash on it then.
Do many other players play PES or Pro Evo? Or is it a mix really between FIFA and Pro Evo?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think like a lot of people are swayed by the glitz and glam. The
FIFA, the presentation, the licenses and...
Yeah, it's a little bit, obviously, than the purist who wants to play on PES.
Yeah, so over your years, there must be a few other people that in the game that enjoy PES, though, is there?
Yeah, of course, yeah. There's been a fair few who've enjoyed it, and obviously I think, like anyone, they've always played PES at a younger age, and
yeah.
I think when PES lost its way a little bit, when it changed over consoles, they obviously switched to FIFA, because FIFA obviously weren't that much better at the time, but probably had a little bit more glitz and glam to it. And unfortunately, that's enough to sway some people. Yeah,
it is, I think, and I think FIFA's always been a little bit easier to pick up and play, and probably get
used to, isn't it?
Probably score goals a lot. Sometimes I remember like cracking on with PES, whacking it on, and it can be 4 or 5 games before you actually score a goal sometimes, and that you feel like you've had to work really hard to get it. But that's what the attraction is for me. I mean, it's
Yeah, of course. You don't want something you want to roll over every time.
No.
You want something that snaps back and takes things from you.
Well, look, Adam, great for you to come on. Really privileged to have been able to do this and talk about PES and everything. You know, really do appreciate it. And I hope everybody out there, knows that you are, if they don't already, knows how keen you are on Pro E and get involved in following your story on Twitter or whatever. And also, best of luck for wherever if it's Cardiff or wherever you might end up playing in the future. Best of luck. I'm sure I'm certainly going to be following your career very closely.
Thanks very much.
And hopefully a lot of people listening to this will now. So
cheers, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, cheers anyway. Okay.
Cheers, mate. You two, all the best with the Spartans, mate, and Valladolid.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Cheers, mate.
Okay, I'm just wrapping that up again then, everybody. Thanks for joining me again on a very special night for the ProSpartanGamer and PES World. And I'll catch you soon, dudes. Stay safe. Cheers.